What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about NIO. Go over some of the data points, what just came out that is going to affect NIO, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up 6.3% pre-market because of this. So absolutely kick-ass news. So the States and China, after I guess a day and a half or 2 days of negotiating, they came to some sort of tentative resolution. So for 90 days, they're going to be slashing the tariffs. So the States is going to be reducing theirs down to 30, China down to 10. So pretty good stuff, very evenly divided. So I think both countries can kind of walk away with their heads held high. Consumers are going to be happy, and that's why NIO and pretty much everything out there is really up significantly. So that's big news, as well as NIO actually just put this out a couple days ago on how NIO is going to be consolidating all three of their brands. And I think that's better for imaging and plus for cost-cutting measures, because if you think about it, if each had their own separate, it's just not efficient. And I think given NIO's recent news about trying to cut unnecessary costs, this is definitely one way to do it. So by them merging ONVO and Firefly into one brand, I think that's very advantageous. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. As far as weekly registration numbers and a lot of those data points, I don't know how that will be impacted. Most likely, since the consolidation, there is just going to be one true number. So that might be making it rather difficult to kind of forecast going forward. But I think there's worse problems out there. Aside from that, though, shorts are increasing 530,000 shares pre-market. So shorts are really doubling down, which is odd because you would assume, given the recent news about the tariffs, that would really fuel the broader market and really prompt short squeezes. So I don't know if shorts are just trying to artificially suppress it during the pre-market, and then once the market opens, they pretty much release and just return a lot. So we'll have to wait and see, but them increasing is definitely very odd. 12.85% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 204.42 million shares overall are being shorted. No real data points coming out from China today. We did have some good numbers, as I mentioned in my video on Saturday about the inflation rate. So Friday evening, we had that come out. Year over year and month over month was fairly good. Same goes for PPI. So honestly, the next big data point to watch for is on Wednesday. So that's going to be something just to kind of pay attention to. Aside from all that, though, with it closing at this point, so the 397 on Friday, that does mean ultimately that the 20,000 in open interest at the 350 strike price is going to be covered. So you might see a nice little bump up once the market does open, or potentially some of the volume being done this morning could be coming from that as well. But today is going to be heavy volume, so somewhat pay attention to that. With it right now, pre-market at 421, it is trading between these 2 points. So this R1 and the pivot. So 384 is going to be a strong support. Definitely do not see that being touched in probably the foreseeable future. And then 438 is going to be the next strong target / resistance point. No new real articles or any analyst ratings coming out. So it is just going to be NIO kind of digesting the macro data points and the tariffs and what that does mean. Maybe you might see a couple new analyst ratings digesting the tariff news, but I think all in all, it is going to be the kind of macro data points and the technicals. So NIO, because of what is happening so far this morning, is having it sit exactly on that 100-day moving average. So it's going to be successfully over that 50. Maybe that's where shorts are coming from. They really want to bring NIO down below that, as what they've typically tried to manipulate in the past. But if NIO is able to close above that 50-day moving average for 2 consecutive days, historically, that does result in like a 30% swing. So at the end of the day, shorts know that. Maybe, again, that's why shorts are increasing. But It definitely is a very interesting day, long past due, and now all that we do need, since technically the states and EU are still negotiating, then that just means a matter of time between the EU and China start negotiating for their tariffs, right? Because what was previously announced is that the EU told China that we're going to wait to kind of finish negotiating with the states. And honestly, if that is all done, most likely in the next couple of weeks, then this is where NIO could really be back at that $5 plus range very, very easily. And even if we zoom back out over here, all of these runs usually were linked to geopolitical kind of moves, right? So even right here, what happened in August through pretty much October, that was the stimulus as well as EU tariffs. So EU tariffs did attribute to this secondary run. The Chinese stimulus was the first run right there. So definitely is a big day for NIO. So let me know your thoughts. Are you buying NIO today? Are you locking in profits? Are you selling? What's your kind of general thoughts on all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Even NIO, I did signal as a buy. I believe it was on Thursday. And obviously, since then, it's been doing some pretty kick-ass stuff. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.